our deeds shall be known, even when our bones are dust scattered on the wind.
Hello. Today we are delving into the Iliad and Troy, a Total War Saga. Total War is a long-running strategy game franchise created by Creative Assembly, with the first game in the series coming out all the way back in 2000. So, when I say strategy game, here's what I'm talking about. Total War games have two main elements. First, we function as a ruler. We have a grand view of our land and the lands of others. We control what our cities do, and we give orders to our armies. And secondly, we function as a military commander. We take a tactical view of the battlefield and we can issue direct orders to our troops. Traditionally, the games in the series would recreate a snippet from history, and then they would give it to you, the player, and you get to act as a participant in the events of the era. That was until they released Total War Warhammer, which proved to be a significant departure from tradition. They still recreated a snippet of history, but this time it was in an entirely fictional world. After Warhammer, Creative Assembly began to develop some more fantastical games, now grounded more in myth than in pure history. And so, here we have Troy, something that, as we know, is very much grounded in myth. While the game itself attempts to cover nearly the entirety of the Trojan War, we're only here for the Iliad, which, of course, as we know, is a comparatively small amount of time. So we're going to need to jump around a bit to see how the game adapts its source material. As you can see, all the usual suspects are here. From Achilles to Hector, every major player that the developers could make into a military leader is present and can be played. They each have their own unique characteristics, playstyles, and most importantly, path to victory. Now, given the strength of the Iliad as one of the only remaining stories that we have of the Trojan War, we can see just how much Creative Assembly really pulled from it to build this game. The campaign of Paris, for example, requires him to always be near Helen, or King Agamemnon and his ability to take what he deserves. Of course, they even gamified the gods. You pray to different gods for support, and these different supports provide different gameplay effects. As we know, of course, if there's one motif that takes center stage more than any other in the Iliad, it's probably that of the rage of Achilles. In particular, the story shows us just how much both his emotions and his control of them, or lack thereof, affect his participation in the war, how he treats those around him, and ultimately, spoiler alert, how he dies. So, let's take a look at how the game implemented the hero that is Achilles. As a fighter, Achilles is second to none. Any field commander is able to sigh a breath of relief when they say Achilles is fighting for them. He inspires his troops, and he paves the way towards surefire victory. In terms of Achilles as a legendary fighter, the game nailed it.
You are not up to this task!
Enough talk!
Now, in terms of Achilles' emotions, the developer took the aforementioned motif and turned it into a proper game mechanic. As events occur around Achilles, his emotions change. Lose a battle and his mood shifts. Successfully lay siege to a city and his mood shifts again. His current mood then leads to changes in the rest of Thea and the morale of his troops. As a direct gamification of this motif, I think the developers really nailed it. The motif and the outcome of the Iliad as a whole seem to kind of lend themselves to this message of emotional control. You know, learn to control your emotions lest they control you. And so in a game where the player is now in control of the story, it becomes our job to control Achilles' emotions. In a certain way, this really demonstrates the beauty of an interactive medium like a video game. A moral like emotional control becomes all the more understandable when the player is now tasked with the active engagement of the story, rather than just, passively observing. As a conclusion, I can confidently say that Troy, A Total War Saga, is a very successful adaptation of an excellent story. While I'm admittedly not aware of too many other adaptations of the Trojan War, you'd be hard-pressed to find one better than this. I'd like to thank you for watching. It's been well over a decade since I touched audio or video editing software, and this has been an enjoyable, if not time-consuming process. Goodbye.